In the spring of 1997, police entered a sprawling mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, California, and found 39 bodies lying neatly on bunk beds, covered in purple shrouds, each wearing the same black tracksuit and the same pair of Nike Decades sneakers. They had not been murdered. They had not been coerced. They had chosen this, to leave Earth, to join a spaceship they believed was hiding behind a comet. This is the story of Heaven's Gate, the cult that promised transcendence through death. To understand Heaven's Gate, you have to go back to the 1970s. It began with two people, Marshall Applewhite, a music professor with a troubled past, and Bonnie Nettles, a nurse with a deep interest in mysticism and biblical prophecy. They met in 1972 and claimed it was fated. Together they became T and Do, spiritual guides from another world. Their mission? To prepare a chosen few to ascend to the next level of existence, a literal, physical place in outer space. Their teachings were part Christianity, part sci-fi, and part New Age mysticism. Heaven's Gate didn't preach salvation through grace or confession. They preached escape. They taught that Earth was a prison planet, scheduled for recycling, and that salvation lay in shedding your human body, your vehicle, and joining alien beings aboard a spacecraft. To prepare for this transformation, members had to renounce their families, their possessions, their sexuality, even their names. They adopted gender-neutral monikers. They cut ties with the outside world. Some even underwent castration to remove all earthly temptation. This was not just a religion, it was a total surrender of identity. Applewhite doubled down. The physical world was a test. The comet was a sign. Their time was coming. By the late 1970s, T and Do were recruiting across the U.S. They spoke of UFOs, ascension, and a coming cataclysm. But after Nettles, T, died of cancer in 1985, the group began to shift. Applewhite, Do, was devastated, but claimed she had returned to the next level, ahead of them. From that point forward, the teachings became more desperate and more absolute. Applewhite doubled down. The physical world was a test. The comet was a sign. Their time was coming. Inside Heaven's Gate, life was tightly controlled. Every detail, meals, clothes, conversations, was regulated. They dressed identically, ate in silence, recorded hours of confessional videos. Sex was forbidden. Emotions were discouraged. They watched Star Trek, The X-Files, and NASA broadcasts religiously, looking for signs, clues, contact. They saw themselves not as victims, but as pioneers, spiritual astronauts preparing for launch. And then, in 1997, the sky delivered a sign. In March of 1997, the comet Hale-Bopp lit up the sky, bright, fast, and unmissable. A false rumor began to spread that a spaceship was trailing behind it, hidden in its tail. For Applewhite, this wasn't coincidence, it was prophecy fulfilled. He told his followers, "The time has come. We must shed our containers and board the craft." Over 3 days, in organized waves, they prepared. One last meal, apple pie and turkey pot pie. They filmed farewell messages, smiling, calm, certain. Then, in groups, they took a lethal mix of phenobarbital, vodka, and pudding, and lay down in their bunks. Purple shrouds over their faces, Nike Decades on their feet, armbands that read, Heaven's Gate Away Team. On March 26, 1997, a concerned ex-member called police. When they entered the house, they found bodies. Dozens. Perfectly arranged. Not frantic, not violent, just organized, prepared, peaceful. Among the dead, Marshall Applewhite. The nation was stunned. How could this happen in modern America? Heaven's Gate wasn't a backwoods commune. They were among the first cults to use the internet. They ran a web design business called Higher Source to fund their mission. They posted long manifestos, Q&As, and videos online. Their website, unchanged since 1997, is still live today, maintained by 2 surviving members awaiting the right time to rejoin their class. It is eerie, dated, and chillingly sincere. What drives someone to leave their life, identity, even body behind? The members of Heaven's Gate weren't stupid. They were seekers, dreamers, misfits in a world that didn't make sense to them. And Applewhite offered answers, a way out, a purpose, a cosmic home. When society offers nothing, even the unthinkable can feel divine. In the years since, Heaven's Gate has become a cultural artifact. The sneakers, the shrouds, the farewell tapes, the comet. But behind the spectacle lies a warning about the power of belief, about isolation, manipulation, and the human hunger for transcendence. When spiritual hunger meets charismatic control, the result can be tragic and total. They called it their final exit, but for many of us, it remains a question with no answer. Did they find what they were looking for? Or did they simply vanish, chasing a dream hidden behind a comet's tail? This was Heaven's Gate. If this story moved you or raised questions you've never asked, share it, comment. Let's talk about belief, belonging, and what it means to truly leave Earth behind. And if you know someone feeling lost in search of meaning, let them know you're listening.